Hey everybody, it's Amy, also known as Aussie Stitcher in Texas, here on Flosstube and over on Instagram. I'm here with you today in late June with my mid-year WIP parade. So I'm going to go through everything that I've got as a WIP, a work in progress for this year. That is 14 projects in total. I'm going to tell you what the counts are, the fabric names, the floss that I'm using, all of that good stuff, so you have all the information you need if anything is interesting to you that you maybe want to look at stitching yourself and things like that. For all of you, all of my subscribers, thank you for coming back. Anybody new, hello and welcome. And for those of you who just decide to watch WIP parades to see if there's anything you like, I hope that you do like what you see and that you stick around for some more. So a little bit of brief intro on me for anybody who's new. I am an Australian. I live in Texas. I've been living in the US now for coming up 10 years and really do love it here. I started stitching a little, my mom was a stitcher, so I dabbled a little bit as a kid, but then in 2020, when I was looking for something to do, is really when I picked the hobby up again and have just run with it. Like I said, I've got 14 projects, so I'm by no means a monogamous stitcher, but kind of the 14, a little bit more number, a little bit less is where I'm comfortable with the amount of WIPs that I have. That means I can touch on a lot of them each month and see progress, because I am both a process and a product. Is that the word? Stitcher. I like to work on the pieces, but I do also like to have finishes as well. So that's how I operate. Like I said, thank you for watching, and hope that you enjoy the content that you see here today. So let's get into it. I am going to show you my projects from the oldest up until the newest, what I just started. I had a new start yesterday, in fact. So let's start with my oldest WIP, which is the Twisted Rainbow Sampler. Here's what it's gonna look like when it's finished. I'm going to pop up what it looks like at the beginning of the year so you can see how much, if any, progress. I have touched everything this year, but some have had more than others. But you'll be able to see the progress I've got from the beginning of the year until now. I'll pop that up. I started this on March 2nd of 2022. I am at 93.61% and I have 3 colors left to go. So here is where it's at. Oh, let me come back and bring it up. So just that bottom, what is that, right? Bottom right section is what I have left. And it is beautiful. This is a 28 count black. I think it's a Jobelin, it's either a Jobelin or a Lugana, but it's an even weave that I got from, I think Fat Quarter Shop is where I got this one. So that is project number 1, my oldest WIP from 2022. I am hoping to have this finished this year so that I can get rid of anything. It's the only project from 2022, like I said. I am going to try and put things away as I go, otherwise I'm going to end up with a giant pile. Next up, so we're in 2023, the beginning of 2023, and this is my Halloween Quaker by Lila Studio. Here is where it will look like when it's finished. I am stitching this on a 40 count Verdal by BeStitchMe in the color Tsunami. Here's what it looks like at the beginning of the year. And here is where I am up to. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I look into the eye of the camera, but I also need to see what I'm showing. So, hide behind it. So that's where we're at. I just have this section over here to do. I think there's about 2 or 3 motifs left, and then some back stitch over here that I've left off till the end because they're long stitches, and I didn't want to have to worry about them in my Q-snap. But there she is, almost done. My goal is to have that finished. That will actually be finished next month, actually, in July. There's less than 1,000 stitches left, and I've been working on that for 1,000 stitches per month for the year in order to see a finish by Halloween of this year. So I'll have it done in July, which is fantastic. Hopefully I'll be able to do something with it so I can actually have it up and present it at Halloween. Next up is a full coverage project by Heaven and Earth Designs, and that is Alternative Reality, a Josephine wall charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I started this on July 13 of 2023. If I didn't say it, Halloween Quaker was started on February 26th of 2023. So this I started in July. This was actually a restart. I had originally started this on a 25 count 1/1 full cross, and I just wasn't loving it. hadn't found my groove with working on that small of a count 1/1. So I had some Aida in stash, and I decided to switch. I'll throw up what it looks like at the beginning of the year, I should say. I am at 24.3% for this one. Let me come back. So here's where we're at. So I'm working this in the Royal Row Methods kind of typewriter style. So you can see I have the full width of the piece. And then I just go down in the blocks of 2 and then come back and go again. So I don't yet have one page completion in a way. But I think when I get down maybe 2 or 3 more blocks of 2, that then will be like page finish, page finish, page finish across the board. But that's where we're at. This is 18 count 2/1. Yeah, 2/1. And I absolutely love this piece. It is amazing. I work on this every month, 2,000 stitches a month, in order to see a finish in 5 years is how I did that math. I also have it on my WIP Go board. So if for WIP Go it's called and it's for, 1,000 stitches, that means in that month I do 3,000 stitches. So every month I work on this piece. Some months more enjoyable than others, depending on how much confetti is happening at the spot that I'm in. Next up is another Heaven and Earth Designs full coverage by Jasmine, Becket, Griffith. This is Faces of Faery 193. This is the companion piece to basically the Black Swan, which I have completed. And I started this on October 29th of 2023, and I'm at 26.54%. Here's what it looked like at the beginning of the year. And here's where we're at. So I think this is page 1 finished. So now I need to make the decision of, do I go across to be able to move and hopefully get the second eye so it doesn't look so disconcerting, or do I come down here? I haven't made that decision yet, but look at, now there's a lot of confetti in this, especially like in the eye, in like this feathering and the feathers, but it looks amazing. I absolutely love this. This is one of those pieces that you really do need to step away to be able to see, especially all this, the shading from the feathers and the eye and the kind of the way that looks like it's, light. When you're stitching it, it's and it's there, you just can't see the detail, but then you step away and it looks absolutely amazing. I love this piece. I'm doing this one on a 16 count Aida. The other one I did on a 32 count even weave, and I just wanted it to be a little bit easier for myself, if I'm honest. So I chose an Aida, which I'm liking and not at the same time. Aida is so stiff that it's sometimes a bit of a bear, and I can't do a pin stitch. Well, you probably can, but I can't do a pin stitch in Aida, which sometimes when I'm ending a thread, if it's kind of rogue on its own and I just put the stitch in to get it off my needle, to get the thread off my needle, and then I've just got a little hanging thread, that bugs me to no end. That I am also doing in the Royal Rose method, but going page by page. So like I said, do I go a page over or a page down? I just need to make that decision. Next up is a Madame Chantilly. This is Celebrate Christmas. I started this on November 18th of 2023. Here is what it will look like. Ooh, when it's finished. I am doing this on a 40 count Verdal in the color Boneyard. I think this one's Boneyard. Here's what it looked like at the beginning of the year. Yes, and I am at 56.39% on this one. So this is 40 count Verdal. It gets you in a little bit closer. So there we go. So I have the top 2 trays done actually, and then I'm down here. This is the 3rd tray, the final tray, and then you've got just the rest of the tray, and then Christmas. I am doing the words as well. I'm doing everything as is. I did make one sub, and that is I've put some etoile in, so you can see this etoile, this mug has been stitched in etoile, but this hasn't. That's the only change I've made, just to add a little bit of sparkle in some places. But I love the Madame Chantilly trays. I have one finished, which is Celebrate Halloween. I finished that last month. And I have 2 of them on the go. I want to try and only have 2 at a time, but I mean, I already broke the rule in saying I only want to have one thing. First off, it was I only want to have 1 full coverage at a time. That's not happening. And then I said, well, I only want to have 1 artist's piece on the go at any one time. And Madame Chantilly, I have 2 pieces, so I've broken that rule as well. Okay, next up is Visit Narnia by Country Magic Stitch. This is another full coverage. So here's what it will look like when it's finished. I love the Country Magic Stitch pieces because they are so much block color. So they actually stitch up quite fast, as long as you're putting some work into it, obviously. Here's what it looked like at the beginning of the year. Yes, I started this on the 5th of December, 2023, and I'm at 25.98%. I am doing this on a 28 count 1/1 full cross. And here's where we're at. So look how small this is. Let me bring this in. So this is kind of my hand. That's how small it is. I did this on the 28 count 1/1 because I do want to try and do more Heaven and Earth designs on the 25-28 count, probably more 25. And I had this 28 count in stash. So it was a good way for me to see, can I actually work on something for a significant amount of time in that small of stitching? And I can, and this probably proved it because I should have started this on like a ivory fabric or a cream or something like that because it starts with white. So stitching white on white in 28 count 1/1 was rough just because it was harder to keep my place. Whereas in the colors and, you know, in here, much easier to keep my place and where I am. This I'm not really stitching with any kind of royal rose, kind of not. So that is Country Magic Stitch. Next up is my New Year, New Start for this year. So from the rest of the pieces on, I won't have a progress piece to show because I started them this year. But this one is by Owl Forest Embroidery. It's called Hyperborea. I have the kit for this. And I absolutely love it. It's a variegated floss. It's all the Owl Forest. It's the kit. So it's all their fabrics and all of their flosses. And here's where we're at. So it is a big kind of wide piece. I'm at, started this January 1st, and I'm at 37.3%. 0.03%, I should say. And their floss, if you've never worked with Owl Forest floss, it is a dream. I'm not usually a huge fan of variegated flosses or samplers, but these are, I love this. It's just the right amount of variegation. And I think because it's like their motifs, the variegation shows up really well in, you know, because I worry sometimes with variegated floss is you can get that stripiness with it that doesn't always look great if you haven't changed and moved and kind of gone all over the place with it. Whereas this, because they're motifs, you know, there's only so much variegation that can happen with that kind of stitching, but it happens in kind of a nice, well-rounded way, which I really like. Next up is October by the Quaker collection. My birthday is in October, so that's why I picked this one. What's going on in here? So here's what it will look like when it's finished. Sorry, I should say the Owl Forest is a 32 count Murano. It's part of the kit, so that. So this is Cricket Collection, October. I have made quite a few changes to this. So I've changed up the fabric. I also am not using the Silken Colors floss for the letters. So the fabric I'm using is called Catacombs. It's a 40 count by BeStitchMe. I just wanted kind of a storminess to it versus that gingerbread. So this is where I'm up to. And I changed the letters to DMC 300. So this is all DMC. Silken Colors are like $15, and I just didn't want to spend that on a piece that's going to be out once a month maybe. So I just went with the DMC, but I think it looks great. Absolutely love this. And I only have 2 more letters to go. E and R. So that will be done maybe this year, maybe not. We'll see. We'll see what happens. What else is in my rotation? Okay. Next up is the Pop-Up Store Cafe by Soda Stitch. I started, I'm at 69.77% on the October. Pop-Up Store Cafe by Soda Stitch. I started this on March 23 of this year. I'm at 62.03%. As far as the stitching goes, there's a lot of back stitch, which Pattern Keeper doesn't count. So as far as stitching goes, 62%. No idea what that is for all of it. I am doing this on a 40 count Verdal in the color Sand Dollar. Here is where she's at. I do try to, because there is so much backstitch with the Soda Stitches, I try to backstitch as I go, as I kind of complete areas that would let me add backstitch in. So this is the girl. She'll look amazing once the backstitch is in. I'm tempted to wait until the end to kind of have this reveal, but then other times when you're looking, especially as it's on like my Q snap, she just looks like an alien. So we shall see. I do have a finish just to show you how much backstitch. So that is the bookstore. That's kind of the level of backstitch and how it brings out the details. So I'm doing quite a few of, well, not quite a few. I have these 2 cafes and pop-up stores, and I might do more because they're so much fun, and they're very quick. 62%, and I started this in March. Lots of white though, and I did this on a 40 count. It's called Sand Dollar, but it's basically an off-white. Okay, next up, flip my page over, is this one's quite a sorry start. So this is Autumn by Alexandra Vivark. It is a Heaven and Earth Designs. This tempted me for a long time, and I resisted because I didn't want, I think this is almost 400,000 stitches. And I was like, I don't know if that's something I'll ever be able to finish in my lifetime, but it is such a beautiful piece that I thought I'll do it. And I am doing this all in CXC with the exception of a couple of colors where it was, if it's under 100 stitches, I'm pulling that from stash. Anything over, I ordered some CXC from AliExpress. And part of the reason I did that was because, you know, that floss is so much cheaper. I wanted to try it, and I thought if it is something that I end up abandoning just because the time and whatever, at least I haven't invested as much money. I bought like 200 skeins or so of floss, and it was less than $20. Like, that's how much cheaper it is. If I had done that in DMC, you're talking $50, $60, even with a coupon, even with a discount, things like that. So I thought I'll give it a try. I actually really do like CXC now, but this is the sorry start that I have. Is that the right? Yes. Just 400 stitches. It is 0.11%. I do need to pull this out. The reason I kind of, that's stopping me from this is because it is so much freaking fabric that I can't make, I've tried scroll frames. I just don't like them. Just like how I sit, where I sit, I can just never get my arms in the right position to make it work. So Q snaps for me, but then because there's so much fabric, it was like pulling it out of my Q snap. I do have the corner clamp. I've got a Lowry stand. I do have the corner clamp as well as like just the normal side clamp. And someone told me to try the corner clamp, and maybe it won't, the weight of the fabric won't pull it. So I just need to do that. And just give it another go, because I think once I get it into a Q snap and I'm comfortable working on it, I will work on it. I just need to bite the bullet and try it again. But I do have it on my Whip Go board, so I might just wait for it to come up then and then use that as the motivation to get me through. Next up is a Long Dog sampler. This is called You Belong to Me. I started this on the 7th of May of this year. That is the 25th anniversary of when The Mummy came out, the one with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. And I love that movie, so I started that in honor of that. I am doing this on a 40 count Verdal in the color Gold Rush by BeStitchMe. I have a lot of I'm in her fabric of the month, so I have a lot of her fabrics. And I am doing this in the color 3842. I did contemplate doing a, like getting a silks for you, but again, that variegation, I didn't want to have to worry about it. So this is where I'm at. I am at 4.96%. So a little over 2,000 stitches. And these weird lines will have some backstitch that goes into, like, they're birds. So if anybody, people who work on long dog samplers, I knew I was going to say it at some point, how do you work? Do you go like a royal rose? Do you just kind of stitch what you stitch, and then like as motifs start to appear, are you then finishing out that motif? Because I'm just doing the one solid floss, I don't have to worry about the variegation, so I can kind of do whatever, but I'm just interested to see how other people work their long dog samplers, because I will take any advice. It was a little weird to kind of try and do royal rose, but then it was, you know, the motif didn't always fall into where I needed it to fall into to make it, and just, yeah. And because it's one thread, I could just go anywhere and go rogue and then potentially get lost, and I don't want to get lost. Okay, next up is Celebrate Summer by Madame Chantilly. So I started this on May 23rd. Here is what it will look like when it's finished. I did quite the change on the fabric for this one. And I had this beautiful blue by BeStitchMe. It's a 40 count as well. Oh, my ironing went to... and I saw, as soon as I got it from the fabric of the month, I was like, that would look great for Summer by Madame Chantilly. So I have this started at the top, and the white shows up much better in person than on camera. So I don't know if you can, so see, there you go, that's a little better. So much better than what you see back here. And the way I work the trays, I start from the top and work my way down. And this is the beginnings of the lighthouse. I am doing this one on a mixture of DMC and CXC. Because I'm doing 1/1, CXC is just that little bit thicker. So some of the colors where I had a lot of, because I've got all the trays, so it's like 645, 646 is in all of the trays. White is obviously in all of the trays. So I have those, I'm doing those in CXC for this one. So it gives it just a little bit more thickness. All right, second to last whip is from Autumn Lane Stitchery. It came out in their Halloween box last year, so it might be coming out later this year. It is Witch's Hallow. And I am doing this also in CXC because I wanted to, I wanted that thickness because there is so much black in this that it calls for 7 skeins of 310. I wanted that thickness, and I didn't want any of the fabric showing through, because the way this piece is all of that orange that you saw in the photo, that's actually the fabric. So it's almost a full coverage project. The color, the orange you're seeing shine through is the fabric itself. And I'm doing this on a 32 count. I started this, on May 27th. I'm at 11.95%. This is on a 32 count Lugana by Under the Sea Fabrics in the color Rubius. And this so far is all CXC. And look at that coverage. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it's a bit rough to get the needle and thread through, and you should feel, like you can feel the difference of how thick this is, but not in a way that looks odd. I am doing this in the Royal Rose method as well. And look at those colors, just absolutely amazing. And that black, like there's no fabric coming through that. Look at it, look at it. It is so good. So I think I'm becoming a little bit of a CXC convert, which I like because of the coverage, but then at the same time I don't, because it's, you don't get that instant gratification of, you know, I can walk to a Michael's and get floss that I need, you know? So to have to wait. And it's not bad. It's not like back in 2020 when it was months. You know, I think I ordered some and it took 10 days. So it's still quick, but it's not that instant gratification, unfortunately. Okay, and now for my final WIP. This is the one I started yesterday. I went to the Stitching Sirens retreat down in San Antonio, and I started this one. I am doing a bunch of the Soda Stitch birthstone gnomes, and I have to do 2 Mays. So if you watched any of my previous videos, you would have seen a completed May, and then this is just the start of the next May. And that needle minder is from the retreat. So I started this because, I mean, this was such a great retreat piece because it's block color, it's a 28 count, so nice, big, easy for me to see because I forgot my light and contemplated buying one of those like halos, but they're like $200. So I didn't, and I just suffered through it. Just found a good spot to sit in. But I think if I had I did take my long dog with me, but did not pull that out because there was no way I was going to try and do a 40 count in that lighting. So that will hopefully be finished in next month, I think, because I have other things I want to keep going on this month. But that is the WIP Parade, the Mid-Year WIP Parade. Thank you to everybody who watched. I hope you all saw something that you liked. If you could like this video, that would be fantastic. I love all of your comments. I read all of your comments and try to reply to all of them. So thank you to those who comment, and a hello to everybody who just says hi. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy your day ahead. If you're here in Texas where we're under a heat advisory, please try to stay inside if you can, or at least stay cool if you have something that requires you to be outside. But like I said, thanks everybody and have a great day. Bye.